Good afternoon. We are Team MOAA, Military Officers Association of America. My name is Arturo. I have Austin, Isaiah, and Nathan, and today we will be presenting our senior project. So our senior project consisted of the request by Team MOAA to develop a mobile application. The concept was for the mobile application to be user-friendly and intuitive to navigate by the users. One of the key components were through the development process to ensure that it was a cross-platform application that all members of the MOAA organization could access either via iOS or Android. And one of the key features was that at the national level, we wanted to be able to provide a web page synchronicity all the way down to the local chapter level. This would allow the platform to provide access of information to the membership from the national to the state level and then the local chapters underneath, but also to be impactful in the way of growth. We felt that the organization needed the ability to provide a growth avenue for its prospective members to join. For the implementation of the application, we went with Azure based on that MOAA has a nonprofit relationship with Microsoft and their Azure services. Some of the functions that we were going to utilize was Cosmos DB and blob storage. And then for the client interface, we went with React Native in order to provide the best services. The user requirements. For the application, we wanted to be simple and easy to use and already familiar for people that were using mobile applications on their iOS or Android devices. It had to have the ability to log in and or sign up. And then for prospective new members, we wanted to give an option for them to be able to continue onto the mobile application as a guest. As a guest, some of the features would be disabled, but once verified, they could then access all the additional features provided by the application. As I stated, the application requirements were going to include member verification, links for all the national level services provided, and then subsequent links for the state level or local chapter areas, as well as the ability to provide references and relevant information for members who were logging on to the application and looking for specific information, whether it was scheduled events, possible upcoming events. They would have the ability to interface with that information and then possibly even schedule their own events depending on the level of permissions that they had within the application, if they were part of the executive board of an organization. Some of the non-functional requirements for performance, it had to be an acceptable speed and response time, regardless of what hardware the users were using. This would ensure that the time they spent on the mobile application was very well tailored to their need or their requirement. For space, we didn't want to overly confuse the mobile application and the services by Azure by using large quantities of information or making it difficult for the devices to be able to go through the required services. For scaling, though, we wanted to ensure that the mobile application was going to be able to be scaled up if at the national level they decided to implement the application. As of right now, MOAA National does not have a mobile application, and we felt that this was going to be able to provide them the ability to take this on at a national level and then be able to provide it to other states that may or may not have an application that they're utilizing. For reliability, we didn't want to have any faults, bugs, or any issues with crashing devices that would inhibit or prohibit the users to have a good experience on the mobile application. For security, which was a key component for us, we wanted to ensure that there wasn't going to be hacked by nefarious activities or other actors. So security was a main concern for us. We wanted to ensure that the information being input into the application was protected, even though we were not taking a lot of personal information, just enough information to create an account, usually using an email address and a name was all that was required. Once the individual user was verified, then the additional permissions would be included. For maintenance, we wanted to be able to keep the application up to date and stable. And in order to do that, we had to ensure that the iOS App Store and the Google Store for Android were able to accept updates and patches as they were developed. But one of the most important features was based that MOAA has a nonprofit relationship with Microsoft. We wanted to ensure that it all remained within a cost-effective boundary of $2,000 for the organization. I'm now going to turn it over to Austin, who will be talking a little bit about the application features.
So the app features, as it stands currently, primarily exists of member login, sign up, and the associated functions that go with that, such as verifying members, a roster page, which will list all the users on the app of that chapter. Only if the user has explicitly said that they want to have a public profile. So by default, when you sign up, it will be private and no one will be able to see that you're a member or on the app until you hit the notification saying, yes, I want to have other members be able to reach out to me. And we did it that way, specifically one for security reasons, so that if someone for whatever reason could get a profile, get on there, they wouldn't immediately be able to take emails and start sending out solicitations or things of that nature. There'll be a member account page, which will have that information along with name, their rank, what branch they served in, anything that they would like to share with the other members of MOAA. And then also access to links, resources, information, anything that a veteran may need, such as if they're experiencing a crisis, reach out to this hotline or these websites. If they need help navigating the VA health resources, along with paying dues, so like Cash App links or interface that allows you to do that, or information such as where you need to go to be able to pay the dues if you don't want to do it through that process. And so here's a image of what the chapter posts are going to look like. So here you will be able to put in an image, and then you'll be able to specify a description, which will include the date, the location, what it will be about. So for instance, Olympia MOAA, they do this thing called Santa's Castle, where they go and they donate large quantities of toys for military families to help ease the burden of Christmas on them. So as an example, they would be able to post, hey, we're doing a fundraiser on this date for this reason, and that would then be put on the app and everybody would be able to see it and participate. And then here, this is a continuation of the previous, but we also included a calendar agenda feature that will take all the posts data and import it into this calendar. So you can visually see it in two different ways. One as just a calendar in a monthly view, and the other as a side scroller that allows you to see which dates through a dot or a blue mark that will then load up all the events on a given day with a description. And then next, for the design concept, we went with the Olympia MOAA's actual colors. So you'll see the logo there is a logo that they actually use from their website. And we took that and we used the same shades of blue, red, and white to basically create the theme of our app around these three color choices. So next, into the more detailed part of it, the backend, our architecture is designed using a serverless architecture, which means that they don't have to have any physical hardware to store any of the data, any of the posts, verification, all of that will be handled on the cloud. So the major design is with a REST API, representational state transfer, which is essentially a Azure function which handles CRUD operations. So create, read, update, delete, which would be for when a member is created or they sign up, when a post is created or when it's retrieved, deleted, things of that nature. And we went with this specifically for the security aspect, takes responsibility and places it all in one secluded location, which allows us to pinpoint where the vulnerabilities could be and mitigate them. So going to the diagram, you see the user will communicate with one of three services at a given time. The first one being functions, which will then also communicate with a security protocol, which will verify that the user's logged in. And if a user has permission, then and only then will actually reach out to our database and then perform some kind of operation on the data. Now I'm going to pass it over to Isaiah.
We went with serverless architecture because it was the most cost effective while giving us the maximum performance for the ads. It also allows for horizontal scaling, which basically means instead of having to buy new servers, it will instead, like via cloning, create more instances of the needed resource people need. And after it's done, basically just delete itself. The document database is in JSON format, which removes the need to translate before reaching the user, as well as removes overhead and adds needed support for relational databases. The client application utilizes React Native, which will transpile the code into JavaScript or Swift. This allows for simple and fast cross-platform development on platforms such as iOS or Android. And continued development for the continued development, we are using React Native, Azure Functions, Blob Storage, and Cosmos Database as our primary technologies. Incorporation of Cash App API allows members alternative ways of paying dues, and also constant collaboration with clients to further refine the app. Now I'll pass it on to Nathan for the rest.
There are a couple of cybersecurity standards that we are utilizing. The first one being standard 1547.3. It addresses grid interconnection requirements for distributed energy resources, DERs, and distributed energy storage systems, DESS. It also addresses cybersecurity for reliability and resilience. It involves safeguarding the communication and control systems associated with DERs and DESS to prevent unauthorized access, data breaches, or malicious attacks that could compromise the integrity or functionality of the grid. It indirectly impacts mobile applications and their development by defining these communication standards and protocols for DERs, which are essential components of modern energy management systems. Mobile apps are designed to interact with DERs, and they need to adhere to these standards to ensure interoperability, security, and effective management of distributed energy resources. Adherence to these standards fosters compatibility. It opens opportunities for innovation as well as integration with other smart technologies within mobile applications. The other standard we are using is the cybersecurity standard for cloud access v2. It addresses the dynamic secure access requirements of digital businesses, changing network and network security architectures of enterprises, as well as addressing the need for intermediate and interrupted access for users regardless of their location. It also discusses the adoption of software as a service and popular remote work trends, specifically after the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the emergence of edge complete computing platforms. It involves a comprehensive evaluation of security-related features available in software-defined network controllers. It explores the impact of good security standards to have and the lessons learned from enterprise-level information security on graphical password schemes. With these mobile applications and their development, these cloud access standards play a crucial role in ensuring that mobile devices can securely connect and access cloud-hosted applications. By following these standards, secure access controls can be implemented alongside authentication mechanisms and data protection measures so that mobile applications can securely interact with cloud services.
So in conclusion, essentially our goal was to provide our client MOAA the most user-friendly, intuitive mobile application that could go cross-platform and be available for all of their users in order to work as two main functions. One, provide intercommunication between current members, and then the second, the ability to be able to go out and recruit and find additional separating service members who would want to become part of the organization and give them the ability to interact with MOAA and all of the services that it provides to separating service members so that they can stay connected within the veteran community and learn how to interact with other fellow members who are transitioning. Thank you.